Irreverent, entertaining, cool. You're listening to LA Talk Radio.
You're listening to What Women Want with Judy Goss and Kristin West, only on LA Talk Radio.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to What Women Want Talk Radio. Thank you for joining us for our show tonight, Defining Empowerment for Ourselves, featuring Chicken Soup for the Soul, editor-in-chief and publisher Amy Newmark, and also author and founder of Simple Fat Burn, Cathryn Marshall. I'm broadcasting from New York, and my co-host Kristin West is in our beautiful studio in LA at LA Talk Radio. Hi, Kristin.
Hello, Judy. I'm so excited about this show tonight.
I know, and I'm so happy every time I open a show to say hi to you and you come on and just like that burst of sunshine into the out to the airwaves.
Oh, you're too sweet. I'm just hyperactive.
Well, you know what? It's going to be a great show. And our show has reached over 1 million downloads. So I'm so happy and proud of that since we first hit the airwaves. And between latalkradio.com's archives, iTunes, Google Play, YouTube, and all over social media, of course, you can find us everywhere. So listen to those replays. And we are taking sponsors for our show for the next few months. So email us for a complete deck through our website at whatwomenwantradio.com. Speaking of sponsors, Design and Print Resource is once again sponsoring What Women Want. So thank you to Gloria Strayer, and she is, as always, so supportive of women. And the truth is that everyone really buys printing in some form. So the company you can trust for great service is Design and Print Resource. Gloria, who has a great story, by the way, growing up in South Central LA, she's the founder and owner of Design and Print Resource in Anaheim, California, and has been in the print industry for 40 years. Her services also include warehousing and distribution. So give them a call at 714-687-9200 or go to DNP, like Paul, resource.com, dnpresource.com. I'm excited, Kristin, to say that I'm the new host of Behind the Gates, showing on AWE channel, and we started filming it in the most incredible residences in the city. I'm so lucky I get to walk in and out of like $25 million residences. So it's so cool, and I'm having so much fun with that. And my background originally comes from a while ago, high fashion modeling at Ford, New York. And after that, I was a magazine editor, and that led me to hosting and reporting regularly for Better TV, City Buzz, and all the TV networks across the country, both regional and national. I'm a regular contributor on NBC and Fox. I'm also a St. Martin's Press author and the mom of teenage twin girls, all at once, while running a company called What Women Want Networking to go along with our show, What Women Want Radio. I founded What Women Want Networking 7 years ago, almost 8 years now, and we're hosting our second National Women's Conference in October, a 3-day event at the Hyatt Regency in Atlanta, Georgia. So if you want to meet me in person, or if you don't, maybe you want to meet my co-host, Kristin West, or maybe cool guests like the one who's coming on our show in a minute, Cathryn Marshall. She's a speaker at the conference. We're going to ask Amy Newmark, too, if she'd like to go to the conference. We'd be honored for her to attend or speak. And last year was our first conference, and women from 13 states and Canada attended. So we're very proud of that. Kristin, it was so amazing to have you there from Los Angeles. And we had speakers from everywhere, including David Baer, who's the newest motivational mindset sensation, basically. We're honored that he's coming back to keynote this year, along with Women for One's Kelly McNellis, and a whole mix of celebrities, VIPs, surprise guests, and really the kind of crowd this conference attracts. You'll want to be part of it all, let me tell you. So go to whatwomenwantconf.com. We're starting our early bird ticket sales, and if you buy one before June 15th, you can save 25%, and they only started $197 for a 3-day conference, so you really can't beat that. We'd love to see you there. Kristin, please tell us about what's going on with you. I can't keep up with all your posts and your news and your red carpets and your awards. It's crazy. You are doing so well.
Why, thank you, Judy, and that's a huge compliment coming from someone who's as accomplished as you are. I actually have a big announcement.
Tell us.
You're the first to hear about it before social media. My series, Horror Talk with Kristin West, has just been accepted to the Action on Film and Hollywood Dreams Film Festivals in Las Vegas in August. Yes.
Oh my gosh, congratulations.
Thank you. And my screenplay, Likeness, the story which I wrote with Ariana Wolf, a good friend of mine, is also competing in their screenwriting competition. So it was a big week for me, and I held the news until I came on the show.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for breaking the news on this show. I'm so honored, and I'm so, so proud of you. Wow, you are really taking off. That's incredible. Congratulations.
Well, thank you so much, and I want to thank everybody for their support. And it's not, just something I do. I have just love and support coming from everywhere and everyone, and you've taught me so much as well about hosting, and I attribute a lot of the success of Horror Talk from things I've learned actually co-hosting with you in the past year and a half. So thank you.
Oh my gosh, please. It's my pleasure. I don't know what you learned from me, but I think you're doing well on your own. And can you just give us a quick synopsis before we bring Amy on of what Horror Talk, or that's what the show's called?
Yeah, it's called Horror Talk with Kristin West. It's a show I do for the premier horror fandom community, Domain of Horror. We've had amazing guests on, such as Tony Moran, the original Michael Myers of Halloween, Deborah Lamb. We had the cast and crew of Corbin Nash, the new vampire thriller out. And Bill Oberst Jr., of course, who's been on the show. And what we do is we do an entertainment report and interview show for the horror community, because they are voracious fans of horror films out there that really want to see that their movies covered. And that's what I do.
And what's Likeness about? Tell us about that.
Likeness, I call it Game of Thrones for children. It's about a little boy who teaches us how to be the best person that we can be in a fantasy kingdom, and where everybody is corrupt, and he teaches them to find true love in their hearts and reflect that out in the world. And the story was written by Ariana Wolf, and then I helped to adapt it for the screen.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, congratulations. And talk about an empowered woman. You certainly are the definition of that. And I'm excited to hear what Amy Newmark has to say about defining ourselves as an empowered woman, because I think it has a lot of probably different perspectives to that word. And, right on her new book, The Empowered Woman, it has 101 stories about being confident, courageous, and your true self. So I know she's going to have a lot to say about that. So let's bring her on. Amy Newmark, publisher and editor-in-chief of the Chicken Soup for the Soul best-selling book series, is here tonight with their newest book, Chicken Soup for the Soul, The Empowered Woman. Amy is herself an empowered woman, having spent years on Wall Street before finding her way to a company that promotes and shares inspiring stories of kindness, compassion, and paying it forward. But it wasn't always easy for her, and tonight she's going to tell us why. Welcome back to the show, Amy.
Oh, thanks for having me back, and I am so excited. I just looked up the numbers on Chicken Soup for the Soul, The Empowered Woman, because you mentioned bestsellers, and I thought, I got to go look at our numbers. So we are on the Nielsen BookScan self-help bestseller list in the U.S., and we are on the Canadian bestseller list also, and we're number 10 on the Globe and Mail self-improvement bestseller list in Canada. That's like their version of the New York Times bestseller list. So people are really responding. They want to read
congratulations.
About the empowered woman. I know.
That is fantastic. We're so excited to hear that. You know what happens when you come on What Women Want Talk Radio is just the book automatically goes to best-selling. So
yeah, that's what it is. I'll just be on every day now.
Yeah, exactly. No, I mean, your book came out May 1st, right?
Yeah, it did. And it's interesting. I actually rushed it onto the schedule. I don't even think we decided to do this till last October, and to come up with a book idea in October and have it on sale May 1st. If you know anything about publishing, that's really, really fast.
That is crazy fast. I do, because I wrote a book.
Well, we were toying with the idea of doing something for women for years, and I just never came up with the right idea. And then because of what's going on in the country and the Me Too movement and just all of the focus on, okay, how are we doing now? I thought this is the time. And so we rushed this, and we were overwhelmed. We had thousands of submissions for this book.
I bet.
And only room for 101. But what I love about it is the variety, because it has everything from a woman feeling empowered because she changed a difficult light bulb by herself to a woman feeling empowered because she took a boss who was sexually harassing her to court and she won. So we have every type of empowerment, from the little everyday things that make you proud to those big scary things that women do.
Well, I can't imagine choosing out of all of these submissions, the stories to go into the 101 stories in this book. What's the basis on how you would even go about that?
Well, I look for stories that are really relatable. For example, we have some stories in the book, and Cathryn will appreciate this. These are stories from women who talk about getting empowered by putting on their bathing suit and participating in activities with their friends and family instead of hiding, and not going in the pool even though it's super hot. Because women do that. We make up excuses. And we had a great story in the book from a woman named Tanya Abari, who was a certified Zumba instructor, but because she was a size 16 and she had what she called parts that jiggled, she never even went to Zumba class. And then finally, she turned 30. She said, this is ridiculous. She kept quitting gyms, joining, quitting. She went to Zumba class, jiggling. She still went. She loved it. She made all these friends in the class. She became a regular. And then when the instructor quit, well, she already had her certification from years earlier. She became the teacher of the Zumba class. That, to me, is such great motivation to get out there and not let those body image issues stop us from participating fully in life.
I say amen to that. That's a cause and a topic that's really close to me. It's one of the things that I try and get out there, is that idea of body positivity and how empowering it is. And kudos to you for including that in the conversation. I'm so excited to hear that. Now I must read the book, Judy.
Well, I have to tell you, I went on the Hallmark daytime talk show, Home and Family. I went on it a few weeks ago. And, okay, talk about walking the talk.
Mm-hmm.
They want the pictures. They wanted family photos. I had just been on a family vacation in Costa Rica. I had a picture of me in my bathing suit with my granddaughter, and I gave them the picture to put on air.
Nice.
So I really owned it. I put that bathing suit on every day in Costa Rica. I went out on the beach. I participated fully, even though I didn't like the way my legs looked. And then I even gave the picture to a national TV show to put on air.
Well, let's talk about that, the confidence that it takes to call yourself an empowered woman. What's your definition of feeling empowered, of being empowered? But what do you see as an empowered woman?
I think an empowered woman fully participates in life, and she doesn't let fears get in the way. And one of the things that we recommend in this book, and in basically every Chicken Soup for the Soul book, is to keep forcing yourself to step outside your comfort zone. You have to keep trying those new things, even the things that you're afraid of, because when you do them, when you change that difficult light bulb, or you pick up that dead rat from your backyard, we have that story in there too, or when you do something scary, like you went zip lining, or you went snorkeling, even though you don't like to put your head in the water, whatever it is, you feel so proud of yourself. And then when you do one thing that was outside your comfort zone, you're going to go do another thing, and it starts building on itself. And all of a sudden, you're a different person, because you're a person who fully participates in life, who does adventurous things, who tries new things, and feels more capable as a result.
For me, and I agree totally what you're saying about all of that. For me, also, it's about entering spaces that you're not normally, in, especially that women are not necessarily always the dominant force in. For me, it's entertainment. Was it that way for you with Wall Street? Because you now are working with Wall Street, and you have your company public.
So Wall Street, oh my gosh, when I started on Wall Street, I think it was 1980, and I joined a brokerage firm in November of 1980, and I went there to be a financial analyst, and the funny thing was I didn't know my way around a balance sheet or an income statement, and they couldn't even conceive of how little I knew about finances when I got there. But they hired me because I was an expert on telecommunications and technology. So the first week on the job, they announced where the Christmas party is going to be. And I was one of 2 female analysts in a department of probably 30 analysts. You're probably already guessing where the Christmas party was in New York City.
Strip
It
Where?
was the Playboy Club.
Oh my gosh.
And I thought, oh my God, there is something so wrong about this. But it was my first week on the job. So I go to a party my first week on the job at the Playboy Club with the bunnies. But I have to say that there were a lot of men at the company who were very uncomfortable with that and were complaining about it, and it never happened again. And I didn't really mind being the only woman or one of the only women because there were certain disadvantages to it, but then the advantages were that everybody knew who I was. And so when I went out to get clients, at least they knew who I was. And so I think it balanced out. But then over the years, there were times when it really was a disadvantage, especially when it came to compensation, because they just couldn't see their way to compensating me the same as guys. And so I wrote a story in the book, which it sounds like a Borscht Belt comedian wrote the title of my story. The title of my story is Enough with the Flowers Already. But the story is about how when I was an analyst, and this was, 30 years ago, I helped a client save basically millions of dollars. This stock that the client was in was about to go down, and I knew it was going to go down. I knew what was wrong with it, and I got him out of the stock. And he ran, one of these big mutual funds, and he saved millions of dollars. And so the way you pay an analyst for great ideas is you like buy and sell stocks through their company, and they get commissions. So I did all of that. I expected massive commissions, and they sent me flowers.
Oh, my Lord.
Now, they did some commissions, too, but I know that because they sent me flowers, I got less money, and no man would have gotten flowers, obviously. But I put that aside because, mixed bag, being a woman in a male industry, Wall Street 30 years ago. Then several more years went by. I joined the management team of an upcoming telecommunications company, became one of the top people. We had thousands of employees. I was one of 4 people who reported to the CEO. We went off on one of these nationwide road shows on a private jet. We're raising hundreds of millions of dollars from big institutional investors, and I'm the only woman on the Gulf Stream. And I'm like, I have arrived. I'm one of the guys. I'm presenting to all these institutional investors. I'm one of the presenters. Everybody who invests in our deal has heard me make the pitch. So then the deal was over. The investment banker was thrilled. We closed the deal, and they sent gifts over to the people who were on the plane, the people who did the presentations. I walked into the office one day, and I learned that the 3 guys I had been on the plane with each got 6 bottles of Dom Perignon. Well, I love champagne, so that was very exciting, and Dom Perignon is great. And so I went into my office expecting to see my 6 bottles of Dom Perignon, and guess what was on my desk? My gift from the investment bankers.
Not flowers.
Yeah, a vase of flowers, and it was not a Baccarat vase. It was the cheapo florist vase.
Oh, my God.
So that happened. Now, I have to say, obviously, things have gotten better, but I put that story in the book because I wanted a few stories that gave younger readers some context to see where we've come from.
I applaud
thought that
you
was
for
important.
that. No, I applaud you for that because as much as we have been progressing, you really have to understand the context in which women live. I mean, we haven't been able to vote for 100 years yet, for gosh sakes. Do you think that the pay gap is the most disempowering circumstance that women face, or is there... I mean, there's so many disempowering circumstances, but do you think that's one that needs the most attention in your opinion?
I think, especially since so many women are single, and are raising children by themselves, that has to be the most disadvantageous aspect of the way that we're treated and the male chauvinism that still exists, even though I know men are really trying. They're really, really trying. But it's hard to undo, thousands of years of perception. It's hard to undo that quickly. It takes generations to get that done. But it has to be the worst thing, because women are, a lot of women are supporting kids. We have so many stories in this book from women who were single mothers. They were either divorced or widowed. They're raising kids by themselves. Like one of them, she sued her boss for sexual harassment. It wasn't some big high-powered job. She was like a clerk in a jewelry store. I mean, prior to getting that job, she was cleaning houses, and she desperately needed this job. She was raising 4 teenagers. They eat a lot, and her boss kept hitting on her, then telling her that if she was friendly, he'd give her a promotion. Then he started groping her in the stockroom, and so she sued him. And she was not a celebrity. She was somebody who was barely making ends meet. But she was so disadvantaged by her lower earning power, of course, and it put her in this position of being so dependent on this job.
Now, you've published over 10,000 stories. How does it feel to empower others like her to get their stories out there?
Oh, it's great. The women and the men in our books who have their stories published by us are so excited and so grateful, and we have changed so many people's lives by publishing their stories. But I have to say, we also get thank you notes from people who wrote stories that we didn't publish, but they said just the act of owning their history, putting those stories down on paper, was so empowering for them, because they sat and thought for a few hours about their lives. And I know for me, even working on Chicken Soup for the Soul, The Empowered Woman, was transformative, because it caused me to think back over the years and to think back about things that I have accomplished, because all women, no matter how confident we appear to be, all of us are insecure, and we're always being quite self-effacing. We're always diminishing ourselves. And so it was a really good exercise for me as well.
I think you need to write a story called Why I Didn't Become a Playboy Bunny. I mean, these stories are really incredible that you went through and that women are going through, with their lives. And you're right, reading about people's truths. And we work with, I have a sponsor of mine for the conference, Kelly McNellis. I mentioned her earlier. She's the founder of Women for One. And her company is based on women telling their truths. She calls them her truth tellers. And, women from around the world log in. And it's very, not just empowering, but liberating once you get your story out there, for not just the people listening, but for yourself also. It's almost just like you're kind of freeing yourself to be whoever you want to be or whoever you can be, right? I feel like people learn the most when they're reading about somebody else's, strategy for getting through adversity or whatever they went through. Isn't that right? I mean, we learn the most, I think, from people's stories.
Oh, absolutely. And I know how much our readers have been changed, because we hear about it every single day from them, how these stories inspire them and cause them to act differently. And we talk about it inside Chicken Soup for the Soul, because we're not numb to this or immune to it. We constantly talk about how these stories have changed us and the changes we've made in our lives, the improvements we've made to ourselves. And every single one of us on the editorial team at Chicken Soup for the Soul has become a better person, more confident, more adventurous, friendlier, more grateful, because of the fact that we work on all of these books.
I love that. When a job can make you more grateful and make you more adventurous, that's a testament also to the climate that you've created there, Amy. That's amazing. Do you think that there's something women can do each and every day to empower themselves more? Is there something empowering you do for yourself every day?
When I look in the mirror, I remind myself that I have to stop being my worst critic, because women tend to be their own worst critic. And because I know that intellectually, I keep reminding myself of that. And if you could just look in the mirror every day and say, I am looking at my own worst critic, and now I'm going to tell that person in the mirror to be quiet and stop it already. I think that alone would make a difference in anybody's life.
You know, I was just talking to someone about that earlier today, and it's just crazy how we beat ourselves up over and focus on the wrong things. So, you know, kudos to you for writing these stories, and not just for women. My gosh, you have written stories, you know, for everyone all over the entire planet that have helped people, you know, soldiers and everyone I can think of. So it's just admirable, the power of that story that you are creating and telling, and how you've influenced people. So, and I was just so thrilled to hear you say, you know, that it was a bestseller already and that it's doing so well. And I think it's a testament on how the world really, there is hope for the world, right? We are trying to change.
Oh yeah, that's another thing I've learned from reading all of these stories. People are inherently good. Even people who don't behave like they're good really are trying to be good. They just don't know how to be better than they are. But I really believe that almost everybody is inherently good and everybody is trying. And I guess I've become way less judgmental as a result of working on these books for 10 years now, because I really have learned that people are truly trying.
Well, congratulations to you. And we were so thrilled to have you back on the show. And please let us know, you know, what your next project is. I know you're churning out these books and just inspiring people like crazy. So it's so wonderful. And I really appreciate you taking the time to come back on the show. The Empowered Woman. The royalties, part of a percentage of the royalties from this book, I want to mention, go to Dress for Success. So not only when you buy a book like this, it's going to influence you, but it's going to influence other women too. So that is just absolutely wonderful.
Yeah, we wanted to help empower women all over the world. And so we're very excited. Dress for Success is a wonderful nonprofit, super high charity rating, which means the money is all being used efficiently and properly. And we've been to their headquarters and we've seen the work that they do. And they have helped something like 1 million women get jobs, keep those jobs, and thus support themselves and their families.
Well, that's amazing. Folks, you've got to get the book and read it. I know I am so going to do this very soon because I feel like I need a little extra oomph. Amy, thank you so much for coming on the show. We really appreciate it.
Well, thank you very much. I'll be back soon, I hope, with another wonderful collection for you.
Anytime.
Yeah, anytime. We cannot wait. Now, obviously, we've talked about improving our attitude, learning about other people's struggles through stories and how they overcame it. Well, Cathryn Marshall is going to open up that mind-body connection a little bit more for us. She's been a fitness expert. She has over 20 years of experience, and she teaches her clients to get fit, fast, and make it last. She is the author of Simple Fat Burn, 3 Steps to Becoming Fit and Lean, which is now available on Amazon and Kindle. Cathryn is also the director of the Perimeter chapter of What Women Want Networking in Atlanta, Georgia. And although her life is all about health, she's still a regular person who loves chocolate, wine, and a day at the beach. Welcome back. Yes, welcome back to the show, Cathryn.
Well, thank you for having me back. It's always a pleasure.
Well, it's a pleasure. You're like a little bright ray of sunshine, and I always feel good after talking to you, whether it's at the conference or on the show. So, Cathryn, you're about empowering women physically as well as mentally. Can you tell me a little bit about your philosophy as a personal trainer and a nutrition expert?
Well, absolutely. You know, empowering people through nutrition and exercise, it's really not just about a workout and a nutrition plan. It carries into every area of life. And early on in my career, I can remember training one of my first clients who was a massage therapist, and she was a single mom. And I asked her about her life. She said, you know, I really take care of the kid. I don't date. And, you know, I don't feel good about my body image. And she got stronger. She lost some weight, and she started going out. She took up ballroom dancing. And I will tell you, this woman became a different person. She met her future husband. She took up dancing. She used to hate shopping for clothes. And it wasn't that she got down to be so tiny and thin. It just changed the way she felt about herself. So I really believe that how you feel carries into every area of your life and makes you magnetic to the right people, places, and things.
Well, I like magnetic. Judy, you like magnetic too, right? I
Totally.
love that. I love like imagining myself as like this magnet and drawing in what I want and desire. I love that. Now, you also though didn't quite have it easy, did you? You were in another business completely before this, correct?
Well, absolutely. I've spent 20 years in fitness, but I'm trained as a social worker. So I was a therapist, case manager, and I really, realized a few years ago I still do the same thing. It just has a different face. It's for fitness and nutrition. But I've always been a catalyst for positive change. And when you're a social worker, the premise is that everything is interconnected. You can't change one piece of the puzzle without it affecting everything else. So I really believe that nutrition and exercise feeds into the mental, the physical, the emotional, the spiritual, and the social aspects of your entire life.
Well, that's probably why you're so successful at what you do, honestly, because you wrap that whole, mental part right around it and spiritual part. Because if you were a social worker, then you've really got a hold on how people think and why they do what they do. And
oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So tell us a little more about how you got into the fitness world from social work. Where's the jumping point there?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, I was really burned out on social work. I admire anyone who can do that type of work full-time, years on end, because, it's tough. Your cases, you might have 100 cases and 2 or 3 that you really see these tangible results. And I'll tell you, my personality, I'm kind of a bubbly party girl. You know that about my personality. That's who I really am. And my stepmother nailed it. She said, Kathy, you love to have fun for the day. This social work stuff is just too serious for you. So, I would get results. So I came to a point in my life where my son was he was a little baby, and I needed a new career. I really was not in a space where I was going back to work doing social work full time. So I had a good friend, and we were both at this path in life going, what are we going to do? And I said, let's look at personal training. And I can remember we went out one day and we ordered some fried clams. and we had this discussion. We said, let's check out this fitness thing. And she went into personal training and had a studio. I went into a big box gym and started training people. And we both have spent our entire careers in fitness. And we've been on different paths, but over the years, we've shared these philosophies. And truly, there's such a need for people to have some direction on how to eat well, how to exercise, and actually get results.
A lot of...
Cathryn, what's your... Go ahead, Kristin.
A lot of people, often, they have a weight gain because they're in a bad job, a bad relationship. Mm-hmm. They're in an unhealthy environment for them. How do you face challenging circumstances like that? And how do you lead your clients into making better choices in those areas as well?
Yeah, well, I think you have to really take the meta view, the overview of the entire situation. So if we take a look at the situation and you're under a lot of stress, you're in a position that the job is not working for you, maybe it's too many hours and you're just overloaded, you've got to compartmentalize that and say, okay, even though this is the situation, what can we work with? Because here's the thing. It doesn't take a lot of time to get fit. It takes a lot of knowledge. And then it takes behavior modification. So we start with baby steps. We say, okay, what can we do right now? Maybe it's a 20-minute workout that fits in at home, and we start making some small changes in the nutrition. And I really teach people to balance their blood sugar, to burn fat, and to have energy. So again, as I'm looking at that case scenario, we take a snapshot of where you are, where you want to be, and we create a game plan. And that's exactly what a social worker does. I'm going to say, hey, you need this service. If you don't know how to get to this location, we pull up the map. So we have to have a plan that's a step-by-step plan that will actually work.
What is an empowered woman to you? What is the definition of that for you?
Oh, that's a great question. To me, the empowered woman is a woman who moves through life, through the good times and the tough times, and she's authentic. She's transparent. And she is really a person that cultivates self-love and love of other people. And I think she's humble about this. She's not flashy and showy about it. But the biggest thing the empowered woman does is she speaks up.
Don't you think sometimes showing your authentic or transparent self can be, well, it can be a very vulnerable place, and it puts you in a vulnerable position? Do you think sometimes we can be too transparent?
Absolutely. I think we can be too transparent, but I also think there is something to be said for being transparent and really, having those heartfelt conversations with people that, they're genuine. They understand that you care about yourself. They understand that you care about them. I mean, because let's face it, everybody is in everything for themselves. There's a payoff in a friendship, in a business relationship, and both people have to come away with something that works, or they leave, they move on. So I think it's really important to speak up, and it is all about appropriate communication.
Have you ever told someone that came to you and wanted to lose weight? Have you ever told them to go to a therapist or started with some sort of coaching in that way before you even worked with them on their diet?
I will say there are probably 1 out of 100 people that come to me that I might say, we've got some other work to do first. Mm-hmm. And maybe there are some health issues or mental health issues that need to be addressed. And the way we would handle this, I would say, we need some more players on the team.
I like that.
Yeah, I mean, that's a nice way to put it, right?
Well, I love what you said about yourself, that you're a catalyst for positive change, because you've really shown that over the years that I've known you, and that's the perfect definition of you. So I imagine when somebody comes to you with that sort of problem, especially weight loss and having mental issues that go with it, that you really know how to sort them out.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's my training and my background. But, the truth of the matter is when you're really compassionate with someone, because let's face it, they're struggling. Most of us are struggling with some form of anxiety, depression, and stress, just on some level, most of the time. Very few of us get to this place where we're like, you know what, I've got it handled, I've got it wrapped up, and I can just go with the flow. So depending on what's going on, we go through phases in life. And sometimes we go through, I had a woman even today who said, you know what, Cathryn, I have just been through, in my entire career, she's been in business for 30 years, the last 3 months have been the most stressful of my entire career. And, we've got to be compassionate in these situations. She never shows up late. She's like, oh my gosh, I'm late again. And this is so not her. She runs 7 companies. I mean, she's on top of everything in general. But they were going through a really challenging time with the business. And, you've just got to listen, and you've really got to give people some leeway. I think you've got to be flexible with people. So I think the empowered woman, she is all about compassion and caring, and she is an awesome communicator. That's so important.
Compassion is such an important part in that. I think sometimes we forget that, right? We become robots in the way we're building our companies and treating people, and we can be strong and successful and have a career and really hit it out of the park as far as that goes, have great kids and all that. But we need to make sure, like you said, that we turn around and we listen, right? That we're sensitive to other people's feelings, because, gosh, I think we beat ourselves up the most. And, you never know what someone's going through, right, Kristin?
Of course you don't. And I think one thing I would like to, add is I think empowerment is different for every woman. Some women are over-responsible, and the most empowering thing you can do for them is to teach them not to feel responsible for everything and everyone. Some women do know how to speak up for themselves, but they speak in such a way that can be off-putting or they can seem defensive. So I think empowerment is very much an individual situation for it's as unique as the person is. Cathryn, I wanted to ask you
Absolutely.
I wanted to ask you, what's the most empowering thing you've done for yourself lately?
What's the most empowering thing I've done for myself lately? Well, I will tell you, every day I try to put in some type of self-care and joy into my day. I mean, like all of us on this show today, my life is incredibly busy. I've got, I'm juggling 42 balls in a day and really working to not drop one. So I take a little bit of time every day and I say, what can I do? So I'll tell you, it's just wrapping something in daily. And this is something I've had to cultivate. I think most of us don't naturally lean towards self-care. But I'll tell you, when you get really busy and really successful, you must have self-care in place. So yesterday, I went and bought myself a dozen roses, and they're gorgeous.
Well, don't send them to Amy Newmark.
And they're sitting in the kitchen. So it's a little something like that every day. And I love what Amy said about the flowers. I think we can buy ourselves flowers if we love them. And, I think we can also express what is an appropriate gift that we would enjoy. I think if someone says, oh, your birthday is coming, what would you like? Give them an answer.
Right, a real one.
Right.
So,
a case of Dom Perignon would be just fine.
Exactly.
Absolutely. And I'm so intrigued by Amy's book where she talked about every type of empowerment. And Kristin, you're right. Empowerment is something different for every single woman. But I'm intrigued with these other types of empowerment that I probably haven't even thought about.
Well, I think a part of it is about sensitivity. She had mentioned the woman that couldn't deal with the dead rat. I can't quite empathize with that because I'm from Texas and I'm used to varmints, but everybody has their sensitivities and their places of discomfort. And part of I think this is what's so fascinating. You're very unique in your perspective as a trainer, is you deal with people's training discomforts and pushing them to move past those discomforts. What if there was someone out there that maybe is feeling disempowered, who needs like a daily mantra or a daily happy or motivational thought? What's one of your favorites that you share with your clients?
Oh gosh, I always go back to the I am statements and really creating those statements around, getting clarity about what it is that you want to create, and then putting in your statement. So I think your mantra is personal. So mine would be something like, I am healthy, I am happy, I am blessed, I have health and wealth in every area of life.
I love that. And I think those I am statements, don't doubt the power of that, ladies, because they can also work against you. I am fat, I am ugly, I'm never going to make it. And you have, that's kind of sometimes running in your subconscious way back in there. And
I think Amy mentioned that too, is that what we say about ourselves, we attract, right?
Right. And it's in
Absolutely.
Those deep crevices in the mind. And it's like bad mold. It's really hard to get out once you have mold. But I'm so glad you brought that up. We have to train our minds like just as much as we train our bodies to think about ourselves differently. How is that part of simple fat burn?
Yeah, I'll tell you. When I'm working with people in simple fat burn, this is a phrase I think I made up years ago. I'm listening between the words for the belief systems. So I'm listening for the I am on overload. I am stuck. I'm not capable of getting strong. All of these things that people say, if you really slow down and listen to people, they will tell you everything. And then our goal is to change those statements and make them more positive. You're not going to take someone from a 0 to a 10 overnight, but we're going to put in new words. We're going to create a new picture. We're going to write a new story. And I love what Amy said about people are inherently good. That is a core belief system. So, she said that and I felt like she was my long-lost sister.
I thought of you, right when she said that, I thought of you instantly.
Oh my gosh. And people, they really are doing the best that they can. And let's face it, we have children, and sometimes they don't come with a manual. We suck as parents, right?
Yeah,
and
totally.
We're not good at anything we start out at. We start out being terrible at eating better. We start out being terrible at getting a little workout time, and we start out being terrible about implementing some self-care. So I think we're really listening for what is going on, and we're taking that person from point A to point B in simple fat burn, because it's not about a size, it's not about a weight, it is about feeling better and doing better.
I love that. Now, how do people get signed up with you? Simple Fat Burn is something that they have to be in Atlanta to participate in.
Yeah, I want to explain her whole online part of her business. This is so fascinating.
Yeah. Well, actually, I work with people all over the country. So I have people all over the U.S. I have a few people outside of the country. But my website is simplefatburn.com, and they can connect with me there. And I'm always happy to chat with them and do a strategy session, see where they are, where they would like to be, if they're just looking to be healthier, if they want to lose weight, if they want to improve their nutrition. So I do online coaching. And I have a 4-week class coming up in June. It's my Simple Fat Burn Basics. But I basically design them a game plan to move immediately in the right direction. And I can do that by phone with anyone in any location.
And she really is motivational. I mean, I'm going to talk about you like you're not here, but Kristin, when I was trying to get my kids really off their duffs, and moving and exercising during the winter when it was just too cold to go outside or do anything, all of a sudden I contacted Cathryn, and she just gave me some simple exercises, and they had so much fun doing them. And it was just all a matter of really, Cathryn, you're all about process, and it's just a matter of picking out the right exercises for their age and what you knew was going to interest them. And all of a sudden they were off and running and doing this every day. So it really works once you I guess, lay out a plan for someone, right?
Absolutely. And Judy, I think you were doing some planks with the girls, right? Yeah,
planks. And you gave us, I think, lunges and sit-ups and a couple of other things, which I don't really know about. I mean, I work out, I do yoga, I go to the gym and all that, but I don't know what to, tell my children to do.
Clean their room?
What's that? Clean their room.
Clean their room.
Exactly. Just take your dishes to the kitchen. You'll burn off some calories doing that. But it's impressive because the way you tailor, your plans for people, it's impressive that you get inside their psyche and really give them something that they are going to stick to. And we only have about, I guess, a minute left, I'm seeing on my clock here.
Well, Go ahead, Kristin. I wanted to ask what's going on at the Perimeter chapter. What are you ladies up to with your Perimeter chapter?
Yeah, we have an event actually tomorrow night. Araya McGarry is going to be teaching us about how to get our business in the media. The chapter has been growing. We've had the largest response to this meeting thus far. So we've been growing. We've got a couple of new chapters opening around Atlanta in the Alpharetta area and up north. And it is just such a fantastic organization, and we're so thrilled, Judy, to work with you and Kristin. And, we're attracting women from all over the country to our conference coming up in October. So the buzz is high, the energy is high, and our women are so excited about the camaraderie, the compassion, and they are truly connecting and helping each other.
Well, thank you, Cathryn, because, it's coming from you as far as, and not just in Atlanta, but, people don't know that you've been, behind me as a cheerleader and an advisor for a while now. So I just want to thank you for, making my company so just positive changes and the momentum really, you're right, it's begun and it's going downhill and it's a fun ride and we're really happy to have you on board with us as part of our family. So
well, I'm thrilled. You were stuck with me for life, so thank you, too.
My little positive catalyst for positivity down there. So you're changing people's lives in every single way. And people can find you on, is it simplefatburn.com?
Simplefatburn.com is the best way to reach me.
And Araya McGarry is fantastic, too. And I'm just so excited to come back down there a couple of months and meet everyone again and open some more new chapters and keep it going. Our theme for the conference this year is Go Big, and that's exactly what we're doing. Right, Kristin?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Cathryn, for taking your time out to come on the show. Good luck at your event tomorrow night. And
all
everyone
right, thank you.
Our pleasure. Join us next week as we have the founder of Blonde & Co. Creative Agency in New York City, Julie Stahl, come on our show to reveal how she came from Australia, no one knew her, minimal education, and made it as a corporate exec in the beauty world. And now she's an entrepreneur of a multi-million-dollar enterprise, along with Karen Samuelson, the author of Be Happy, Damn It, and several other self-help books, who has built a brand around inspirational cynicism. So remember, subscribe to us on YouTube. Don't miss one show. Go to whatwomenwantradio.com. Thank you so much for listening again. We love you, and we'll see you next week.
You're listening to What Women Want with Judy Goss and Kristin West, only on LA Talk Radio.